It's football time once again, ladies and gentlemen, and I am your host, Mr. George Carmona. I'm eventually going to get my Instagram switched over to George Carmona. I've been Instagram DMing the person who has George Carmona, and he hasn't posted in like 2 years, so I don't think he's using it anymore, which is bullshit. One, bullshit on my part for not picking that up in 2016. That's a big fumbling of the bag by me by not picking George Carmona. I'm getting all, I can't even remember what my Instagram name was at that time. I was something stupid as shit. And now I'm like Mr. _ George _ Carmona. And I just want to get George Carmona back because I want to be that. I want to earn my blue check mark. That's a goal. I don't want to buy it like Travis, who's the studio head here. Phony. That's a phony move. But today I have Nick Capuano behind the decks. Second day here, Nick.
Pretty exciting stuff.
Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
I'm glad that you got to hear me rant and rave about football because a lot of people, Nick, they think that the off season, although not as entertaining as the NFL season, obviously, it can still have some spicy things happening, whether it's a trade, the draft, some spicy things happen. The big thing I always look out for, though, is rule changes. And the NFL made a rule change this year. And the rule change is that all kickoffs will, let me rephrase it. The rule change is that you are able to fair catch now outside of the end zone up to the 25-yard line and get the ball at the 25-yard line. What this means is a lot of teams the past 3 to 4 years have implemented a Pooch kick in which it's a super high kick. You're kicking it to the sky. You're giving it plenty of airtime, time for your guys to get down there and make a play and stop them before they got to the 20-yard line. Now, I see what they were trying to do with this when they made rule changes to the kickoff 10 years ago. I think it was 10 years ago. The Concussion movie comes out. There's a lot of scientific research behind people get hurt extra on kickoffs. And they're trying to prevent concussions on kickoffs. But you're still having kickoffs. And the reason why I say it like that is you're not changing the premise of a human being sprinting 25 yards untouched and launching his body into another man who maybe has a 3 to 5 yard, go at you, right? A lot of those times, those guys back there, as the guys are running down, they're solid. They don't really have a lot of momentum. They kind of just have to absorb the blow. And the NFL, in hopes of reducing concussions, were like, let's not remove that facet. Let's just make it so that if there's a fair catch outside of the end zone, even if he's like, now, for example, right, a kickoff comes in, a dude's on the 5-yard line, fair catch, right? Which was ideally a perfect Pooch kick position. If you got a sky kick all the way up there, the dude catches on the 5. Numbers are working in your favor for that field position. Now, here's the thing. You clearly want to keep kickoffs in, or else you would have gotten rid of them. But you're trying to adapt a rule in hopes of lowering concussions. And this is the part that has always confused me, is that just because you tweak the rules doesn't mean that players are tweaking their mentality of wanting to fuck somebody up every time they're running down there as fast as humanly possible. That's going to happen. And if you don't want that to happen, and that's where I would imagine a lot of these concussions happen, then you either have to get rid of kickoff, or you go to what the XFL did this year, where they have both teams lined up 5 yards apart. The kicker kicks it off. Nobody on either side of the line can move when they're 5 yards apart. I think they were like on the 35, and the other the receiving team was on the 30. Or it may have been the 25 and the 20. Regardless, 5 yards apart. Nobody can move till the returner catches the ball. And it seemed way safer. And I did see a a lot of schemes and creative ways to try to make big time plays on those type of kickoffs. Now, I think the NFL knows exactly what they're trying to do here. One, they're getting bombarded yearly with people saying, what are you doing to prevent concussions? And now this has happened since the rise of that concussion movie, CTE, the scientific research. What is the NFL doing to lower concussions? And we've talked a little bit about the helmets. I have Marcus Mariota's old helmet there, and we felt it, right? I've shown you the inside, and if you want to see that episode, go back into past Gridiron Junkies episodes, and we kind of like talk about like the helmets these days, kind of, in my opinion, are the reason why there are more concussions. One, they're heavier helmets. More padding means that I can play more reckless. And people will continue to push those boundaries because they're getting paid millions of dollars to do that. If they don't go fuck somebody up, they won't make millions of dollars. And you're literally giving them more cushion, more padding, more. The helmets are way heavier now than they were back then. I don't know. So back to the NFL having to meet a quota, right? What is the NFL doing for concussions? Okay, let's institute this rule in which we're not changing too much and in the hopes that there's more fair catches. But I'm going to tell you people, even on a fair catch, people are getting hit. Like it's you see all the people run past right on touchbacks, and there's been a lot of touchbacks and stuff. But on fair catches, when you're running down full speed and you have a helmet on, your vision's only like this, right? And you're targeting in on a certain lane to go hit somebody. It's hard to see somebody go like this once, right? And if you don't see the guy, frantically waving his arms, or the referees aren't stepping in, you're going to annihilate that blocker in front of you. So although you're changing the rule, you are still leaving people out there to get just creamed. Now, I respect the NFL for doing this because in the way that I'm portraying it, the NFL is not the bad guy. The bad guy is these people that keep saying, hey, NFL, what are you doing about concussions? Listen, bro, they're playing fucking football. All right. They can care less. They know the risk. They know that there's moves being made scientifically, whether it's the helmet or the padding. But the rule change right here is, in my eyes, not changing too much. And if this was like the NFL kind of sticking it to those concussion people saying, listen, they know the risk they're taking, shouts out to them. I want to see way more creative ways, though, to do these sky kicks. I want to see more onside kicks. I want to see teams willing to roll the dice more on field position. Or you may start seeing like some like squib kick type things in which people can't fair catch, and you're just hoping for like a rumbling, scrumble, fumble tumble, and everyone just cluster fucks at like the 20-yard line. You can get some field position there. But that rule change is segueing now into what else has happened in this offseason. Very short episode today. There's only two more topics that I want to bring up. One is the current state of the New York Jets, and then the next topic will be the Final Four of the NBA, which is now the Final Three because the Lakers couldn't make it. But I'm going to break down that Final Four, and I'm going to show you which NFL team this upcoming season reminds me of these basketball teams in the Final Four and for what reasons. But Jets update. So Aaron Rodgers, it's official. He's been practicing with the Jets, voluntary training camp type stuff, things that he has not attended in the past, like 4 years for the Packers. He never went to voluntary workouts because, once you've been at a place for so long, that rudimentary stuff, you can kind of scoff over it. And he was also, in these past years with Green Bay, I just feel like soaking up his greatness, enjoying the vacation a little bit longer. Because why not, dude? People on the Jets, his teammates are calling him the greatest of all time. Which is why I wanted to have this State of the Jets little union address right here. The Jets obviously are huge winners in this offseason by signing Aaron Rodgers and putting the pieces together around him. The real, losers, though, have always been the Jets. And the reason why I say that is because the way the players are reacting to Aaron Rodgers' presence early on, it's almost like just too starstruck, you know? The man has yet to play a singular fucking snap for the Jets. And everybody on that team is geeking out over that, oh my gosh, this is like the lock of the lifetime, right? But I'm going to tell you, Jets fans, all right? You guys are a long ways away from being playoff contenders. And I truthfully mean that. You play in the hardest division. You are coming off a season in which your defense, stud-like, your offense, non-existent. You spend the offseason going after what can be considered the greatest quarterback of all time. I wouldn't put it. I think Brady's firmly in that spot. But they are just freaking out right now over this upcoming potential. And I can't help but to think this plays negatively to Aaron Rodgers. One, because he's coming off a year last year where he was unable to motivate and will his team to victories. It took so long for the Packers to get going last year. And I think it's somewhat of an indication that his play diminished a little bit. He is going to be 39 years old. He is now in a place where he's being, it's almost like if you're a super hot girl and you move schools, whenever you get to that new school, all the guys are going to be over you. You know, you're the new fucking hot piece of ass on the block. I mean, you start having people say bro, I think I love you. People probably have literally looked at Aaron Rodgers I think I love you. And it's just, pump the brakes here. Because in my opinion, that Jets team has still got a lot to figure out. One of the things that I was reading on an ESPN article written yesterday was that the tackle for the Jets, I'm going to pull up his name here right now, but the tackle for the Jets had some pretty choice words to say about the way that the Jets handled his injury last season. And I want to get this dude's name right. So I am going to just fill time by asking Nick, what's your favorite football team?
I go for the Steelers personally.
Big Steelers guy. You happy with getting 50? Tomlin got over 500 last year. He went 9-8, so that was big. He's the most winningest coach of all time.
Yeah, I mean it's cool to see something good happen for the Steelers. It's been a while, I think.
Do you like Kenny Pickett?
He's all right.
Do you think Mitch Trubisky's the answer? 'Cause I do.
Yeah, I mean, a change of pace would be nice, I suppose, but I don't know. It's harder to say beforehand. It's easier in the aftermath.
Got it. I found his name. But yeah, I'm going to be talking quite a bit about the Steelers this year because they were able to get lucky. They played extremely hard last year towards the end, but I just do not see them competing at all that well this year with their division. I think the Ravens and the Bengals are just miles better than the Steelers are at this current situation. But back to the Jets tackle that I was telling you about. It's a potential tackle, protecting the GOAT, right? The Jets GOAT. There was an interview with Mekhi Becton. he blamed the staff on his the way his knee injury was handled. They moved him to right tackle, which put additional stress on his right knee. So, I mean, if you're the right tackle, it's your kick step, right? So, like, you're putting a lot of pressure on that knee. They ended up moving him to right tackle after he already repaired his knee, and then he required a second injury because he required another surgery because of a second injury because of the move. So he's saying he doesn't want to get into finger pointing, but the coach for the Jets, Robert Saleh, he commended Becton on an unbelievable offseason. So, like, the head coach was like, hey, listen, bro, I'm going to fight fire with fire on this one. He had an unbelievable offseason, and then he hits him with his weight is under 350 pounds. He's dropped 50 pounds this offseason, which is kind of like the Mekhi Becton, you were eating too much fucking food and you yourself caused stress on your knee because of how fat you were, and we told you to lose weight. And then this offseason, you lost weight. So I think we're in a better spot now. But I definitely think that's what Robert Saleh said only to the media. And then when they had a little personal meeting, he was like, you fat motherfucker, come run bleachers with me every goddamn day. Because Robert Saleh is crazy as shit, dude. He was one of the only coaches in the past, like, 5 to 10 years that I remember seeing a little ESPN special like, oh, look, Robert Saleh running before the game up and down, the bleachers at MetLife. And you're like, whoa, this dude's a little insane. But he's expecting the most out of him. He did not take too kindly to that little backhanded compliment from the dude that's going to be protecting the Jets GOAT. Whatever. Off of the Jets update, the last thing I wanted to hit on today was the Final Four of the NBA conference finals time. I cover a lot of my basketball side and other sports on the American Fan 365 podcast. That goes live every Monday at 11 a.m. Tune into that, subscribe. They got a lot of big guests coming on here in the future, and it's just always a vibe. I mean, there's a crazy New Yorker, Rosine, and then you have the most laid-back, chill brother in the world, Josh Williams. I'm going to have them both on the show here very soon to give us the state of their franchise. Josh is a Commanders fan and Rose a Giants fan. But anyways, on their show, we talk a lot of basketball. And Josh's brother was an NBA player. He played for the Pistons. He's the Junkyard Dog. If you guys are Vegas people, you've seen JYD and the Junkyard Dog quite a few times out here at some of the celebrity games that are being thrown. That being said, the Final Four of the NBA this year was the Denver Nuggets versus Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat. What I wanted to do is I wanted to take where those teams are at this season in the Final Four and kind of give what is the NFL version of that team. So we're going to start off with the Los Angeles Lakers. So Lakers get swept in the Western Conference Finals by Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. LeBron, it's up in the air whether or not he's going to retire. There's lots of question marks with Anthony Davis. They have so much talent on the team, but they're led by Darvin Ham, a first-year head coach who, I'm going to be honest, in big moments looked a little lost. Now, my NFL comparison to this team goes a lot more just to the storyline and the allure of the team. So I think the Los Angeles Lakers are very similar to their Los Angeles brethren, the Los Angeles Rams. I see a lot of LeBron James and Sean McVay because rumors have had it for at least since the end of last year, and I think it's squashed now, that Sean McVay was going to retire and become an on-air personality. But after having quite a historic start to his NFL coaching career, I mean, this man went to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff and then won a Super Bowl with Matt Stafford, but was constantly in the mix here for the past 6 years. And on top of that, They have extremely talented players. A lot of the Los Angeles studs remind me of Aaron Donald. I think Anthony Davis and Aaron Donald, I mean, besides them having the same initials, they're a lot, more alike than people would think. Defensive beasts. I think that Anthony Davis, he has this swagger to him, like a rough and tough swagger. But, Los Angeles has kept him clean cut. That unibrow is looking swaggier than ever. I think Aaron Donald possesses those same talents. And just the way that the teams are always in the mix. Although the Lakers, they did go star hunting, very similar to what the Rams did when they won their title, and getting OBJ and Von Miller for that year. It just they seem so similar. And I think a lot of the Rams this upcoming year, and I think that it's going to be a really, Hollywood type storyline, as far as they need this upcoming year to cement the legacy for the team and to continue to put Los Angeles on the map. Those Los Angeles teams, they also have to battle who is the better team in Los Angeles, right? So the Lakers got to be better than the Clippers. The Rams have got to be better than the Chargers. So I think that also connects perfectly. So I think the Lakers are very similar to the Rams. I'm going to now move on to the Nuggets. Who do I think the Nuggets really remind me of? Especially with the way they've built their team in the draft. They have a coach that has been around the league for a while. They're very similar to the Chiefs. And it's not just the championship DNA. I mean, the Nuggets, this is their first ever NBA Finals. But what I'm thinking here is we had said the same thing about a young man named Patrick Mahomes when he was playing Tom Brady in AFC championship games. Although he did not win it, that first one, you were like, oh, yeah, this kid's for real. And not only this kid's for real, this team's for real. Jokic is just like Patrick Mahomes. He gets everybody involved. Everybody loves him. He's the leader of the locker room. He's developed his voice over the years. And early Patrick Mahomes, I definitely don't think was as good of a leader as current Patrick Mahomes is, because now he's got the resume and the highlights to back it up. And if I'm going to compare Jamal Murray to anybody, I mean, it's just his sidekick. It's Travis Kelce. And to me, the Nuggets, their history and their storyline is like the beginning of the Chiefs dynasty that happened in 2014, 2015. So the Lakers are like the Rams. The Nuggets are like the Chiefs. Now moving to the East, the Celtics. The Celtics are very much like the Ravens. They have that superstar stud talent, Lamar Jackson, who is just like Jason Tatum. And not only that, but the way that the team has always been in contention, not only in the postseason, but in the regular season. The Celtics beat people frequently, and they've been number one in the division often, and the Ravens beat people. Even with Tyler Huntley at quarterback this past year, they were still beating people. And I just could not help but to think that Jason Tatum, without winning an MVP trophy yet, has had a very similar career to Lamar Jackson. And Lamar wishes, I bet he definitely would retract his MVP if he had a Super Bowl chance like Jason Tatum did. So it's like they've had what would be considered the pinnacle of both of their sports. The MVP trophy and then the Super Bowl trophy, or the NBA championship trophy. They each have one of what the other one wants. And it was a quick comparison. I was like, this is it. The Ravens are just like the Celtics. And the last team, the Heat. Okay. 8 seed. They've been not only in contention over the past couple of years, but they're led by a singular person. And they're tough. And they have this certain grittiness to them. and they match the exact identity of the Tennessee Titans. So let's go into the coaching side of it. Eric Spoelstra, Mike Vrabel, they both have been the epitome of developing men, right? They not only are developing them as great human beings and businessmen on the outside, but straight up animals in the sport that they play. And they trust their dudes a lot. Jimmy Butler is just like Derrick Henry. He turns it on when the people need him. NBA Finals time, playoff time, late in the season for Derrick Henry, November on. Okay, that's when King Henry comes out. The comparison to me was quick, and that was just between the Jimmy Butler and Derrick Henry. But the Titans, let's not forget that the Titans have been knocking at the door every single year in the playoffs, and they keep falling short. The Heat, for a while there, were knocking at the door in the playoffs, and they eventually busted through. Now, the Titans definitely need to figure out some other pieces other than Derrick Henry, just like the Heat need to rely on all those other role players if they want to win an NBA championship. But as we're recording this today, the Celtics defeated the Heat last night, and the series is 3-1. And like I said earlier, Jason Tatum, he wants not only a NBA championship, but he wants that MVP trophy. And I think if it would be interesting to see here, right? I'm picking out all these teams. Whoever wins the NBA championship, I'm going to go put a future bet on that NFL team that I connotated it with. So it's clearly not going to be the Rams because the Lakers are eliminated. But I can be putting a future in for the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Titans, all three AFC teams. But whoever wins the NBA championship, that corresponding team, I'm doing it. I'm locking it in. So I'm going to say this just for clip purposes when I start clipping this up at the end. The Final Four of the NBA, these are the teams that it matches with. The Lakers are just like the Los Angeles Rams. The Celtics are just like the Ravens. The Nuggets are just like the Chiefs. And the Heat are just like the Titans. That's it, Nick. I'm George Carmona, at Mr. George Carmona. You can follow at Gridiron Junkies on all social media platforms to see clips of this wonderful podcast and to help it grow. All you people that say you watch my show, I know you just watch the fucking clips, but it's okay. You're going to fall in love with this show eventually. And this will be what you listen to every Monday morning after football season when you're driving to work, because I fucking record late Sunday night episodes for you guys to listen to and for you to binge and to have stats to tell your friends. But that's it. Nick, thank you for engineering today. It's your first real show, second show engineering.
It's been a real blast.
How do you feel like you did today?
Feeling good. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have to change any cameras at all today. It was just straightforward, simple.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, but hey, that's just what we do here. We keep it simple, stupid. The KISS method. You're going to tap off my lower third. You're going to run the intro again. And Gridiron Junkies, we're out, baby.